Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 19th. I apologize for not getting your video up yesterday. I was very busy. Our kids were having awards day for the elementary school and the middle school, and then my daughter graduated from 6th grade last night, so I was just completely tied up with family events yesterday. So yesterday, exam one did open up for you. So exam one is actually going to be due next Wednesday, since Monday is Memorial Day, and I don't want you to be worried about working on anything over the weekend. So if you're not able to do it during the week, I'm going to give you some extra time next week to get this exam done. One other change, I decided to drop the Netflix SWOT analysis. So after exam one, instead of having to jump straight into your Netflix analysis, which was going to just really be too much grading for me all at once on the shorter summer term, I decided to drop that for this semester and just spread out chapters 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then exam 2. So the available dates are, I'm not going to change them for chapters 5 through 8. I just bumped them up on the calendar. So the dates are still going to be set where they were, so they're not going to be due until, the 8th or the 15th. But I just bumped them up on this calendar here so you can go ahead and work ahead on them. They're already available, so that doesn't change, but I didn't want to change the due date since I had already set it earlier in the semester. So you'll have some extra time to work on chapters 5 through 8, and then exam 2 will be during June, open up on June 8th. Let me show you the questions for exam 1 and go over those briefly. There are 2 questions on exam 1. The first asks you to consider a contrast between 2 different angles of approaching the relationship between business managers and IT managers. I want you to consider whether you feel it's more important for business managers to understand IT or for the IT managers to understand the business. And along the same lines, should corporate strategy drive adoption, or should innovative IT opportunities drive corporate strategy? So what I want you to look at here is whether you feel that it's most important for the business managers who are in the day-to-day grind of making sure that the business stays profitable, whether they understand the technology that supports them, or whether those who manage the technology understand the business that they are supporting. Now, if you want to approach this at a middle manager level, that's fine. Or if you want to look at this at an executive level, that's okay. But be sure it's clear to me which angle you're taking on this. And finally, what I want you to do is to play the devil's advocate and step to the other side of the argument and make a proposition as to how the other opposing view could also be legitimate or be true. So there's really not a wrong answer here, but there are incomplete answers and there are unsupported answers. There's no length requirement like everything else. I go for the Goldilocks rule. I want it to be just as long as you need it to be to feel like you have answered the questions, and be sure you answer all the questions. You need to discuss business managers and IT managers. You need to discuss corporate strategy and IT innovation, and you need to play the devil's advocate for these situations. So that's what I want you to think, a lot to think about here, but what I'm trying to get you to do is just see that there's different ways to approach things, and sometimes there's not one answer that you can give for every question. So that's the first question that I'm wanting you to consider. Let's look at the second one. In this question, I want you to look around on the web to see if you can find an example of a major IT-related project in which the actions of the business managers made a difference. Some examples that I've read about over the years that if you can't find anything else, these are good ones to look at, are like Hershey's ERP implementation. There's, I believe it's the Denver baggage claim system was supposed to be a huge successful project, and it completely failed. There's been FBI implementations of ERP and SAP. So there's been a lot of projects that have failed, and when you read through the projects and you consider some of the things that we've talked about in the class about business managers and project management and change management and the CYB model, you can see places where people made mistakes. So what I want you to do is to find an example, and if you've got an example from your personal experience, that's fine, but I need you to describe it to me. And then what I want you to look at is see how the theories and the things that we've discussed in the class and that you've read about in the book, how they could have been applied to have made a difference. So you're almost playing the role of consultant, where you're doing analysis on a situation so that you can learn from it and provide direction to other clients in the future. So there's three parts to this. First is you have to find a project, whether you find it on the web or you use your own experience, and then you go into document as much as possible from what you can find the actions taken that incorporate these tools, whichever of these fit. You can show how that someone covered their bases, or maybe they didn't. You can talk about how someone successfully outsourced or how that they didn't, how they successfully identified opportunities or smoothed the path or mitigated risk or used the change management continuum, or how they didn't and how those theories could have helped them. So that's what you're looking at, this is the blend between the textbook and the real world. And then the last piece is what advice you would give this company moving forward on future projects based on their history from this one. So you're going to write your final standpoint of, if I worked for this company, I would recommend that we, and then you lay out for them what you would recommend. So this is what I'm looking for. Again, with this one also, the Goldilocks rule, no specific format, no specific length, but make sure you cover these sufficiently. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. Otherwise, I wish you the best of luck working on these projects. Remember, you've got until next Wednesday to get these done. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, and you have until a week from tomorrow to have these submitted by noon. So have a great week and good luck on this exam, and I look forward to getting your work in next week.